Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Strapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Tadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sakrajadam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvedam Swavadudam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Shrute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanjakalpatarubhyasya Kirpa Sindhuvaya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shashwin, for the wonderful Mangalacharan. We can start reading verse. Verse for today is second canto, second chapter. Verse for today is 24. Shashwin.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashtoprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloker Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. Shri Krishna. Vaishvanaram Yati Vihaya Sagata Susumnaya Brahmapatena Sochisa Viddutakalkotare Rudastat Prayati Chakram Dripasai Sumaram. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We can do the word to word and translation and purport till Mataji joins us. Vaishvanaram, the controlling deity of fire. Yati, goes. Vihayasa, by the path in the sky. The Milky Way. Gata, by passing over. Sushumanya, Sushumnaya, by the Sushumna. Brahma, Brahmaloka. Pathena, on the way to Shochisha, illuminating, Vidhuta, being washed off, Kalka, dirt, Atha, thereafter, Hare, of Lord Hari, Udastat, upwards, Prayati, does reach, Chakram, circle, Drupa, O king, Shaishumaram, named Shishumara. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances. All Guru Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, just 1 minute Prabhuji, if you don't mind.
No problem. Can we continue translation of the verse?
Yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Okay. Anyone wants to read the translation and purport?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, yes.
Translation. O king, when such a mystic passes over the Milky Way by the illuminating Sushuma to reach the highest planet, Brahmaloka, he goes first to Vaishvanara, the planet of the deity of fire, wherein he becomes completely cleansed of all contaminations. And thereafter, he still goes higher to the circle of Shishumara to relate with Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. Purport: the polar star of the universe and the circle thereof is called the Shishumara circle, and therein the local residential planet of the personality of Godhead, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, is situated. Before reaching there, the mystic passes over the Milky Way to reach Brahmaloka, and while going there, he first reaches Vaishvanara Loka, where the demigod controls fire. On Vaishvanara Loka, the yogi becomes completely cleansed of all dirty sins acquired while in contact with the material world. The Milky Way in the sky is indicated herein as a way leading to Brahmaloka, the highest planet of the universe. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Sorry. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Parshata Deshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudire Srinivata Swagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto Bhadrani Vidunoti Sugrat Satam Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we will get started again with the second chapter, second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so we will first try to do a recap as we usually do, and then we will get started into today's verse, or at least come to our today's verse after seeing other verses as well. So, so the Lord in the heart, or meditating on the Purusha in the heart, is the subject matter. This chapter is titled as that. So we will try to do a quick recap now. So Parikshit Maharaj, he ended the first canto by asking this question to Sukadev Goswami, right? So what is the topmost process? What is the highest goal for humanity? And what is the means for attaining this goal? And what should that person do all the time to attain that goal? In response to that, Srila Sukadev Goswami establishes Shravana Kirtana Smaranatmika Bhakti is the topmost. And Harinam Sankirtan is the potent of all limbs to quickly attain success in your sadhana. And how that process can be quickly practiced, and because of that, one can attain perfection. he gives the example of our Katwang Maharaj. And then he starts describing about other popular opinions. See, not that everyone in the opinion were of the opinion that, oh, bhakti is the topmost process and Krishna Prema is the topmost goal. Some of them had other opinions. And one of the popular opinions is, oh, the highest goal is Sahyajya Mukti or impersonal liberation. And the means to attain the Sahyajya Mukti is the path of yoga. So in order to touch that topic, Srila Sukadev Goswami started describing about the path of yoga. So in the path of yoga, there are two categories of yogis. So the first category of yogis are the ones about whom we popularly hear, which are the yogis who have only one primary goal. They don't have any secondary goal. They have one primary goal, and that goal is getting liberation. And they are fairly free from any kind of secondary goals. So such practitioners, they start with yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. In this way, what happens? Their mind and senses are very stably controlled, and they're also strong in their devotional disposition towards the form of Paramatma within the heart. Then the Lord manifests within the heart to aid them to meditate upon Him. They practice this dharana, dhyana, and then finally reach the stage of samadhi. And then through the practice of what is called Shat Chakra Yoga to attain this direct liberation. And this is also called Sadhya Mukti or direct liberation. So this is one of our popular paths. Now, there is second category of yogis whose primary goal is also liberation only. They are actually moksha kamas. They want liberation. But at the same time, before attaining that liberation, they also have a desire to gradually enjoy the other things in this material world, the other kinds of material pleasures. And eventually, of course, they want to give that up and go back and attain mukti. So therefore, they have such secondary goals. We cannot call it desires, but so for them, they have these secondary goals. So they actually genuinely wish to go and check out these heavenly planets and see what kind of pleasure is available there. And after that, they eventually want to attain mukti. So these people should not be confused with our materialistic people. They're not outright materialists, but at the same time, they don't have liberation as their only goal. They are also having some secondary goals. Such kind of yogis are not recommended to actually meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord. They are recommended to meditate on the Virat Roop form of the Lord. So they meditate on the Virat Roop. And by meditating on the Virat Roop, some kind of purification happens. The fact that, yes, I want to enjoy this material world. Now, he comes to this understanding that it belongs to the Supreme Lord and I am not the proprietor. So ideally, I should not aspire anything of this material world because the Virat manifestation is a form which is imagined by this yogi. Again, he sees this Virat Roop manifestation to be the Supreme Lord, and he constitutes the various limbs of the Lord. So in this way, what he's trying to do is obviously get rid of his, the proprietorship that he has in his heart. Everything gets cleansed eventually. So in this way, he says, yes, see, I should try to give up this material world and attain liberation. So for this, purification may take some time. So if that happens, and if eventually he's going to give up his secondary goals also, at that time, when they give up the secondary goals, they become qualified to meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord. And they meditate on the Paramatma form, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. At the stage of samadhi, they practice what is called Shat Chakra Yoga and then give up the body, these yogis. So even after meditating on the Paramatma, but sometimes, it has to be understood that this person's heart is getting purified. So gradually it is getting purified. So this person, he attains mukti by a more so gradual process. And this process is called krama mukti. Krama mukti is gradual, not outright like the direct, like the first category of people who would get direct liberation. Okay. So in the first chapter of the second canto, there was a description of Virat Roop. How was this Virat Roop? How does he look like? And in order to give us an idea on the Virat Roop meditator, what was the form? What was the bona fide structure of Virat Roop? All this we saw. The description of the universal form, comes in the first chapter. And in the second chapter, what is a bona fide Dharanashraya? Or what is the object of meditation for the Virat Roop meditating yogi? This is being described. And in the second chapter, we are also seeing Sukadev Goswami is giving an example of a popular personality who actually gained benefit by meditating on the Virat Roop. That is Brahmaji himself. So sometimes Brahmaji forgets how to create. When he wakes up to recreate from Swarga to Patal Lok, sometimes he may forget, right? So sometimes he goes up and down the lotus and then hears the word tapa tapa. He performs tapasya, but this is not happening all the time. So some other time, the memory is given through various means on various days. So some particular days, he gets an inspiration to meditate on the Virat Roop. So when he meditates on the Virat Roop, what is happening? We learned he gains the memory as to how he should create this material world, right? So Brahmaji was recommended this Virat Roop meditation for attaining moksha. It is not exactly that he wanted to attain moksha, but for the purpose of creation, he was recommended this. And again, this is a bona fide form of meditation, and we get to know from Brahmaji's example. It is to show us that yes, Virat Roop meditation is fruitful. So then, while describing the path of liberation, our Sukadev Goswami, gets to another popular opinion. What is this liberation and all that? What is all this liberation that you're talking about? There are some category of people who want to enjoy this material world, meaning they want to do pious activities, they gain piety, and by that piety, enjoy this material world. The piety gets exhausted, again, perform pious activities, gain piety, and again enjoy this material world. Again, when the piety gets exhausted, again, they want to do the same cycle over and over. Some people, they think like this. Srila Sukadev Goswami answers this popular opinion to say, what kind of life is this? You're trying to enjoy in the namesake. They want to enjoy Swarga. When the night of Brahma comes, the Swarga itself is not available. Swarga itself gets destroyed. So this kind of happiness that you are looking for is more so an illusionary happiness. And therefore, intelligent people, they will not try to enjoy this temporary happiness of this material world. That's where karma kant comes into picture. And at the same time, this intelligent people, they will accept whatever is needed from this material world to perform their sadhana. They accept that much and move on. They just accept whatever is needed to keep this mind, to keep this body and soul together. That's what they do. Perform their sadhana, they accept whatever comes on their way and they move on. Then the question is, what does it mean? Accept only what is needed to keep the body and soul together. That's where the answer comes, where, we spoke about this. When the floor is there, what is the need of you to lie in a bed? When you have your hands, what is the need for pillow? Like that, he describes how we must be detached from these material things, a person who is practicing this yoga. And that is the intelligent person. And if one, by this practice of yoga, gets the level of detachment, then naturally what is going to happen? Our Supreme Lord is going to manifest in the heart of the yogi. And the yogi, very blissfully, he would meditate on the form and worship that form. In this way, what is going to happen to this yogi? He is going to escape this world of samsara. But only an animal-like person without evolved consciousness or evolved consciousness, he still thinks there is nothing called transcendental happiness. Whatever happiness, that means material happiness. He cannot think beyond. So he cannot think beyond the material happiness that people are compared to animals. So they just keep on meditate. They also have to meditate upon something, right? Everybody is always meditating upon something, dear devotees. If you were to think of your life, you are also meditating on something that is happening. Either it could be material, and if you are too much inclined to Krishna consciousness, then you will start thinking and remembering about Krishna. But that meditation always happens, right? And these people are compared to animals because they keep meditating on the material things in this material world. So then he starts describing, I have described you the Virat Roop, which is what the inferior yogis meditate upon. I will tell you about the object of meditation of the superior yogis, which is Paramatma. So then comes the introduction to Paramatma. How these yogis go through the process of dharana, meditate upon the form of the Paramatma, which is Shirodakshay Vishnu, who is four-handed, has Shanga, Chakra, Gada, Padma. He measures a few inches, one Pradesha, and then he says, the further form of Paramatma is described. He has a smiling face, eyes are wide like a blue lotus petals. He wears kadamba, a pollen-colored yellow cloth, and various ornaments which are made of dazzling gems. And how this lotus feet are firmly established within the heart of a yogi, like that, it is described. And further, his attractive form is described. One beautiful thing is his attractive smiling face is surrounded by spotless glossy hair, which is curly, right? And anyone who looks at the form of the Lord, he can clearly see the bountiful mercy the Lord's in the Lord's glance. It's not I think the yogis, they are realizing this and enjoying this feeling of Lord giving the bountiful mercy upon them. That smiling glance, the movement of the shining eyebrows, a person who's an expert is understanding the emotions, the physical expressions. This is called Samutrika Lakshanam. He is able to understand the emotions, these physical expressions. See, face is the index of mind, right? If people were to come to you and they are going to give a smiling glance upon you, immediately you feel so connected to them. The smile is enough to connect a person. Like that, here, this yogi is witnessing Lord's smiling glance. And this yogi is able to see, oh my God, how merciful is this Lord? How merciful he is. He's able to feel that in his heart. So such people are able to clearly understand the Supreme Lord is oozing out of mercy. The way he glances, the way he moves his eyebrows, the bodily expressions, he has that bountiful mercy. That person is able to realize this. And obviously, one should see the form of the Lord, which appears through the contemplation until the mind is in a concentrated state. So until one develops the fair kind of steadiness in meditating on the generic form of the Lord, one should keep doing that. So this is a limb of dharana. Dharana means what? Meditating on the generic form of the Lord. And then what happens, as we spoke in the earlier classes, he would then start to meditate on the individual limbs of the Lord, which is dhyana. And one attains a fairly good steadiness in meditating the general form. And he should, at that time, he would start focusing on individual limbs of the Lord, starting from lotus face up to his smiling face. And in this way, gradual purification happens. So particular threshold of purification is needed to actually even continue meditating on the Paramatma form of the Lord. But when he continues meditating on the Paramatma form of the Lord by focusing on the individual limbs, and when he moves from one limb to another, further circle of purification happens, which then leads to liberation. And then, so as long as he meditates on the Lord, in form of Paramatma, who's witnessing all the living entities, as long as one is able to do that meditation, again, here we have to note, as I told you, bhakti is the secondary element. It is not primary. Bhakti is gauna here. Yoga, jnana, karma, ashtanga yoga, everything. Without bhakti, it's not going to work. But they all have to have bhakti at least as a secondary element. So there must be a sense of devotional disposition towards the form of Lord in the heart. So as long as the meditation on the Lord, which has bhakti as an element, does not manifest in a person, as long as one is not able to naturally meditate on the form of the Lord with a sense of devotion, then it's not going to go progress to the stage of liberation. If he doesn't have, if he doesn't have that, natural inclination to meditate on the form of the Lord with a sense of devotion, the one reason is because he's having these secondary goals, he's not able to meditate with a mood of devotion. He's unable to meditate on the form of the Paramatma within. This yogi, if he has some secondary goals, then obviously it's very difficult to focus on the Paramatma form of the Lord. So till then, that is why it is recommended that this yogi should meditate on the gross universal form. After performing karma yoga with proper rites, then once he becomes qualified, that time he will be eligible to, once he is sufficiently purified, at that time he will be eligible to meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord. So till that time, if you are asked this question, whether he can give up karma, no, he has to continue doing his varnashrama duties. So that is the way he's going to get purified, it seems. This yogi, in the preliminary stages of yoga, he cannot leave his varnashrama duties. He has to continue the practice of varnashrama duties. Through that, his heart is going to be cleansed. So that is what would happen. But this yogi, again, we are talking about this yogi who's unable to give up the secondary goals, but still he has attachment to the process of yoga. He should not give up karma. He should continue practicing karma, and at the same time, he should not be meditating on the Paramatma form of the Lord, rather the Virat form of the Lord, because his consciousness is still impure. And then after performing the karmas which are necessary for purification, then obviously now we understand, okay, he's continuing his karma, and then this is what happens in the life of a inferior yogi or Virat meditating yogi. Now then Sukadev Goswami, he then transfers and takes us to another question to say, okay, he's going to tell us how this Paramatma meditating yogi is going to attain liberation. So liberation means what? It is, as I told you, when we die, our gross body is destroyed. Death means destruction of gross body. But liberation means what? Liberation means destruction of subtle body, dear devotees. So how this Paramatma meditating yogi gives the subtle body up, and how he attains liberation and goes to Brahma Jyoti. This is the topic. Our Sukadev Goswami, now he wants us to understand. So this is, I think, till what I spoke, probably I covered in last class. And so now, as you understand the linkage, you have the description, right? We have the description. He continues telling, oh my God, this, I have described you the form of Virat Roop, the inferior yogi meditates upon. Now let me describe you the Paramatma, which the superior yogi meditates upon. And then we saw how he describes about Paramatma. And then we saw about how this Virat Roop meditating yogi, what process karma he has to continue, and what is the object of meditation for him. We continue on that. And then he now tells about the Paramatma, the Paramatma meditating yogi, how he attains perfection through this process called Sadhya Mukti. So he perfects his yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, and when his mind and senses are perfectly controlled, he focuses his mind on Paramatma and doesn't get attached to a particular time, give up his body. There's nothing like that. We talked about that fact. Oh, Uttarayan, I want to give up my body. Nothing like that. And then what he does, in the previous class, we also saw, he offers his mind to the intelligence to the conditioned soul, and the conditioned soul to the pure soul. In this way, mentally giving up the material faculties which are needed for conditioned soul to enjoying this material world, after surrendering all of that and presenting that when he clearly doesn't need all these things, he attains the stage of what is called Brahmabhuta, which is described in Bhagavad Gita, right? Brahmabhuta Prasanatma. So in Bhagavatam, this stage is called Labdha Upashanti. This is the stage of Upashanti. He has attained the stage of Upashanti. Upashanti means cessation of material life. Cessation of material life means he surrendered all the faculties which are needed to enjoy in this material world. He surrendered now. I don't need these anymore. I have a different goal completely. I don't desire to enjoy this material world, nor I want to do any of these things associated with this material world. So this is the stage of being in Jivan Mukta or Labdha Upashanti, the stage of Brahmabhuta. So when he attains this stage, he says, so at this age, this practitioner is no longer influenced by the three modes. He is no longer affected by the influence of time or the devatas. None of these things affect this person. So this person, we all understand, he is aspiring for impersonal liberation. But nevertheless, dear devotees, we have to understand that he is worshipping the personal form of the Lord. To attain the impersonal liberation also, he worships the personal form of the Lord. He has to have that devotional inclination towards the personal form of the Lord. One cannot reject the personal form of the Lord and attain a transcendental goal. No. So whether it is a Jnana Yogi or an Ashtanga Yogi or a Karma Yogi, but the acceptance of personal form of the Lord is mandatory for all these worshippers, all these yogis. Otherwise, they cannot attain their goal. Somebody who rejects the personal form of the Lord, they are baffled in their attempts to attain perfection, either in karma, jnana, or yoga, or jnana yoga. In the later chapters, we'll also be seeing Sukadeva Goswami will clearly present this opinion. Clearly present this statement. Whether one is a Jnana Yogi or a Karma Yogi or an Ashtanga Yogi, all of them, if they do not worship the personal form of the Lord, they do not accept the personal form of the Lord, they cannot attain any form of perfection. So therefore, this aspiring yogi who wants to attain Sahajya Mukti, to enter into Brahman, he has to give up his improper understanding and improper conclusions about the personal form of the Lord. So whatever is not related to the Lord, of course, he has to reject that. At every step, he actually embraces the lotus feet of the Lord within his heart. So such a person, he only can attain Brahmajyoti. There is no question of rejecting the personal form of the Lord. Rather, one should actually be eager to worship the personal form of the Lord in order to attain Brahmajyoti also. Now he has attained the stage of Jivan Mukta or Labdopashanti or the Brahmabhuta stage. So then now he has to give up the gross body. His attachment to the subtle body is gone. Now he has to give up the gross body. How he gives up the gross body? He gives up this gross body through what is called Shat Chakra Yoga. In this Shat Chakra Yoga, of course, I am not an expert in this area because we are all into Bhakti Yoga. But whatever is described in Bhagavatam, I'm trying to explain to your devotees. So, obviously, if you have a better understanding, please clarify it after our call today. But anyways, I'll try to explain. So in Shat Chakra Yoga, he raises his prana in which the soul is suspended. He raises the prana through the 6 chakras, it seems. Mooladhara Chakra, Swadhisthana Chakra, there is Manipura Chakra, and then Ajnana Chakra and one more. So like this, there are 6 chakras, which are the 6 energy centers of the body. So he raises his prana from one chakra to the next. and next chakra and brings the prana in between the two brows, which is called Agya chakra. And from this place, he does this. I mean, from this place, what happens is he wants from that place. What he does is he closes all the 9 gates. It seems Navadwara Puri Dehi, Purya Dehi. The 9 gates are closed, and then he forces the jiva to escape through the Brahmarandra, through his yogic powers. This is what is being described here, devotees. So first what he does, he raises his prana, in which the soul is suspended, okay? And then he moves through the 6 chakras. As I told you, there is different chakras, and he moves through that. So he raises his prana from one chakra to another, brings the prana way in between the two brows. That is called Agnya, Agya, Agya chakra. And from that place, what he does is he closes the openings that are there. He closes all the 9 gates. The 9 gates are closed. And then he forces this jiva escape through the Brahmarandra, through his yogic powers. And when the soul escapes through the Brahmarandra, then what is going to happen? Why he wants to close these 9 gates and make the soul escape through the Brahmarandra through his yogic powers? Why? Because the next destination for this person, when the soul escapes through the Brahmarandra, is Brahmajyoti. All right. That is why he does this. And he gives up his gross body at one shot and reaches the Brahmajyoti at that time. So this is what is Shat Chakra Yoga, dear devotees. So now this Paramatma meditating yogi has attained liberation through this Shat Chakra Yoga process. Hope you're all able to understand what I'm trying to tell. So far, what we have seen is, we are seeing about this Paramatma meditating yogi, how he is attaining liberation through this process of Shat Chakra Yoga. All right. Hope you are clear. Now, now, how the Virat Root meditating yogi attains liberation through Kramamukti, or the path of gradual liberation, that will be discussed now. Hope you are all able to understand what we have seen already versus what we are going to see, dear devotees. I hope I made myself clear here. So now what are we going to do? Anybody? Anybody wants to say what we are going to do now? What are we going to see? Silence.
Going to the devotional path.
Yeah, we are going to see how the Virat Root meditating yogi is going to attain liberation through the path of Karakrama Mukti. As I told you, he's not going to attain direct liberation, like how we saw with the Paramatma meditating yogi. What happened to him? He did this Shada Chakra yoga. After that, he gave up his gross body. At the time when the soul escaped through Brahmarandra, he gave up the gross body, and after that, he directly reached Brahmajyoti. There was no other destination. He didn't go to different planets and then reached Brahmajyoti, right? He immediately went to Brahmajyoti. Now, the specific part is, we are going to talk about this Virat meditating yogi, how he is going to attain liberation. You know, how you say it's a gradual process. We are going to understand how this process is gradual through Kramamukti. Okay, so that's what we are going to see, dear devotees. So now again, we need to understand the context. We are talking about Virat Root meditating yogi. Please keep that in mind. That's good enough. So if the yogi aspiring for liberation, if he also has secondary desires, if the yogi before attaining liberation also has secondary, if he also has desires to check out, oh, what is the pleasure of Brahmaloka? How does Brahmaloka feel like? I want to check it out. So like, how is this garden looking? I want to go and check out that garden. Obviously, he wants to attain liberation, but in between, he wants to check out these things. Okay, check out these things to see what is it there. So, if you see, this yogi who's who's meditating on the Paramatma form of the Lord, what he did, he gave up, he surrendered his subtle body completely, right? As we said, the mind, intelligence, and everything was surrendered, and only the pure soul was left at the time of death. This is what we understood. And even Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, describes this. So just like how the wind carries the fragrance from one place to another, similarly, the soul also carries the subtle body from one gross body to another gross body. So now, this inferior yogi who has the secondary goals, he has regular transmigration, we can say. But the only difference is that regular transmigration of ordinary souls is governed by law of karma. But for this yogi, this transmigration from one body to another body is not governed by law of karma. Because this yogi, even though he has material goals, but he is in a very exalted state. He has material goals as secondary goals. Primarily, he wants to attain liberation only. Therefore, we shouldn't think this person to be a materialist. We clarified that point. So, when this verse indicates his desires to enjoy various material planets, we should understand it's talking about a yogi who clearly has liberation as his primary goal. But genuinely, he has some desires, okay, with regards to other things, this material world, in this material world. So, therefore, when he leaves the body, he moves along with his mind and senses to the next body, to the next destination. Like that, only our Vishna Chakravarti Thakura is clarifying. So this is how the gradual liberation or Krama Mukti takes place, it seems. This Mukti is also called Achiradi Marga. That's what it is called. So he says, at the time of giving up of the body, one doesn't give up his mind and senses. The subtle body is not given up. Rather, the mind and senses, one goes to enjoy those planets. With the mind and senses he goes to enjoy in the planets. So he goes because he needs a subtle body and he has this secondary goals. So he goes there to the various planetary systems. And obviously, it seems there are 13 destinations before he attains Brahmajyoti. He goes to these 13 destinations, the different places, which has subtler and subtler material pleasures. So these 13 destinations are not completely described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, some parts are described here, but out of curiosity, subtler and subtler material desires are there, and he enjoys that, and then says, "Oh, I'm satisfied now. I don't need this material pleasure anymore." So he enjoys and goes to the next place. So he gets an appropriate body, it seems, to enjoy those material pleasures. Again, it is not governed by body of karma. We have to open our mind and think of this person to be a yogi who's given us exclusive body to enjoy in that destination, it seems. This is the point our Acharya is trying to clarify. Na Chakravarti Thakura, he's clearly explaining this process of Krama Mukti to say, see, he goes from one planet to another. Not this material body can be suited in all planets. We don't know. There could be a component of fire more in one planet. I have no idea about it, but he says he's given a body, appropriate body to enjoy the pleasures, and he goes to the next one. When he becomes satisfied, and he gives up the desires. When he is able to enjoy that level of pleasure, then he feels, yeah, I just want to give up this desire. I got it. Then he goes to the next place, like that. His curiosity is satisfied now. I'm ready to go to the next place. Then he gives up another part of the subtle body there and goes to the next place. So this way, the subtle body becomes subtler and subtler. And by the time he's ready to enter into the Brahmajyoti, the subtle body is completely vanquished. What is the criteria for liberation? Your subtle body will be destroyed at the time of liberation. So when this person moves from one to another, his subtle body becomes subtler and subtler, it seems. So it's not instantaneously giving up the subtle body, dear devotees, like how we saw in the first type of mukti. Say, for example, for you to understand, let's take an example of glass. Let's say there is some grape juice, okay? And someone wants a glass of water. So you dispose the grape juice and you fill it with water and give it to that person. What is this? This is compared to instant liberation. In the process of Kramamukti, what happens to the glass of water, to the glass of grape juice, you keep adding more and more water, more and more water. So the grape juice gets diluted to an extent that at some point it becomes water completely. You're able to understand. This is the process Kramamukti. So, where it's not instantaneously the grape juice is emptied and filled with water, rather the grape juice, into the grape juice, the water is gradually added. At some point, the grape juice becomes water. So, when he goes from one planet to the next planet, enjoying the subtler and subtler enjoyments, after enjoying that, he gives up that level of desire and he gives up that part of the subtle body, it seems. So his subtle body becomes subtler and subtler. How it's happening, that process is not described. Okay, how, which part is given up when and where. No. We are just trying to understand the process of Kramamukti at a high level in Bhagavatam. It doesn't go into depths to help you understand what is that process in depth. Or it even does not clarify the 13 destinations for that matter. What are the 13 destinations? What he does there? What level of desire he gives up in each of these planets? See, all these dear devotees are beyond, but the overall understanding is what I need all of you to get from this. So you are able to at least get a sense of what this Kramamukti is, what is this direct liberation, and what is the difference between the two. That's all. So we just need to understand, at least at a high level, okay, this person is not controlled by karma, but he's controlled by the level of yoga that he performs. So he is able to go from one planet to another because of his yogic capabilities. And that's why he can even, he attains a body suitable to be present in that planet and gives up that desire after he leaves the planet and gets purified and becomes, the subtle body becomes subtler and subtler. This much we need to understand. And difference between direct liberation and Kramamukti has to be understood. If we are able to understand that, that's good enough. Now, so this 23rd verse, it talks about, Prabhupada says, the transcendentalists are concerned with the spiritual body. As such, the strength of their devotional service, austerities, mystic power, and transcendental knowledge, their movements are unrestricted within and beyond the worlds. The fruitive workers or gross materialists can never move in such unrestricted matter. The materialist scientists endeavor to reach planets by mechanical vehicles is the only futile attempt. One can, however, reach heavenly planets by virtuous activities, but one can never expect to go beyond Swarga or Janakaloka by such mechanical materialistic activities, either gross or subtle. Transcendentalists have nothing to do with the gross material body. They can move anywhere beyond and beyond, within and beyond this material world. Within the material worlds, they move in planetary systems such as Maha, Jana, Tapas, and Satyaloka. And beyond the material worlds, they move into Vaikunta in unrestricted spacemen. Narada Muni is one such example of spacemen, and Durvasa Muni is another one of the mystics. By the strength of devotional service, austerities, mystic powers, and transcendental knowledge, everyone can move like Narada and Durvasa Muni. It is said Durvasa Muni traveled throughout the entirety of material space and part of the spiritual space within 1 year only. The speed of transcendentalists can never be attained by the gross or subtle materialists. So obviously, Prabhupada is trying to help us understand the superiority of bhakti yogis who can just go anywhere in the planet. Why are they going to Swarga and all other planets? If you were to ask a question to yourself, they are going to give bhakti, dear devotees. That is the only way. Even people who are in the Swarga can get association. Only by association of devotees can you get bhakti. That is why these transcendentalists, they go to give bhakti to others, not to enjoy. Oh, I want to enjoy that. No, that's not why they are going there. They are going only to give bhakti. This is the point, dear devotees. That's very important. Only through the pure devotees association can one get bhakti, not otherwise. As far as the commentary goes, it is said that we obviously understand. Say, for example, we get a MacBook Air. Air means which is light like a fire. So this yogi, who's a Virat Rup meditating yogi, they have subtle body, which is very, very subtle. In the sense, it's becoming subtler and subtler even more. So the subtle body is like that, it seems. So that is why it is called Bhavana Antara Manam. And again, that verse, I think the 23rd verse talks about the fact these great yogis who possess subtle bodies, they worship the Lord, they perform dharma, varnashrama dharma, ashtanga yoga, samadhi. Before they attain that samadhi. So just like air can go anywhere to any place, it does not need permission from anyone. Similarly, these yogis can go from one planet to another planet, um, just by the dint of yoga that they perform. And again, they are not controlled by karma. This is the point. And before obviously reaching the purification, these guys do perform karma. Okay, they don't give up the activity of varnashrama until they become purified to meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord. Now, these yogis, when they go to these places, do they have to have the element of bhakti in their practice of sadhana? Yes, they have to have the practice of bhakti. On the strength of the spiritual practice only, they are able to go to these places. Again, by the strength, dint of yoga means that includes bhakti. Even though bhakti can be secondary, but bhakti has to be included. Again, we know these people are not ordinary people. It's not like the same kind of enjoyment that a karmi would enjoy, right? Shine punye matya lokam drishanti. As long as their karma is over, they will have to come back to loka. Again, perform karma, go back to swarga. So these people, they are not like that. Okay. No one keeps track of their karma. Oh, your karmic credits are done. Now you have to go back like that. No, nobody is going to kick them out. They have come there not by the strength of karma, but by the strength of yoga and the bhakti component included. They can stay as long as how much ever they want. A person, obviously when he goes to a restaurant, say for example, a prime minister goes to a particular restaurant, it's sort of an honor for anybody to invite him. If prime minister comes, then it's a sort of an honor for that restaurant owner to welcome him. He's not going to check the prime minister out. Oh, you have eaten this basal dosa, pay me and just go out. No, he's not going to say that. Like that, this person who goes to the different planets, he's not going to be kicked off or anything. So they visit the lokas and they are personally received by the personal deity of a particular loka. And then they say, please come, please come. And these yogis, they stay in those planets. They get all the enjoyment they want. They are personally ensured. And this yogi is satisfied. And I no longer have the desire to enjoy this level of happiness. I'm ready to move on. Then the presiding deity, he takes the yogi personally from that destination to the next destination, hands him over to the next destination, the next planet, out of his own volition. This yogi desires no more this level of enjoyment. My curiosity is satisfied. Let me go to the next place. Like that. So on the next presiding deity of the planet, he respectfully welcomes him and then he takes him to the planet. Personally, he ensures whatever kind of enjoyments, all kinds of enjoyments are shown to this yogi. And this yogi is not an ordinary personality. He is exalted. And the great the great yogis, they can go to the universes, to places like Makarloka, outside of this universe, because they all have the subtle bodies. They worship that form of they worship the Lord, and they practice Ashtanga yoga, and because of that they are such elevated souls. They are not ordinary people. So that's why they go to these 13 destinations. Okay, again, as I told you, the 13 destinations are not talked about in Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, but the yogi, having gone to the he goes to the various planets. That's what is mentioned. And then this 24th verse talks about the point to say that, O king, when such a mystic passes the Milky Way by illuminating Shushumna to reach the higher planet, Brahmaloka, he goes first into Vaishwanara planet, the deity of fire, wherein he completely becomes cleansed of his contaminations. And after that, he goes higher to the circle of Shushumar to relate to Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. So you can see, dear devotees, before reaching Brahmaloka, where he wants to go, Vaishwanara, that is mentioned. After that, he will go to Sushumara. And again, the topography of what he's doing, that even I'm not sure. When it comes to fifth canto, I'm not an expert at all in that realm. But we are able to understand that this yogi goes from one to another, and finally he wants to go to Brahmaloka, and after that he would transition. When he reaches the 13th destination, that is when he would go to finally merge into Brahman. So this is sort of what is being described in the 24th verse, dear devotees. So I think we are good in terms of time. We will stop here. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripasantubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our Acharyas and Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. Also, as you always do the recapping of the whole chapter, it's all refreshing for us to get into the mood of the chapter. Are there any questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna everybody. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you as usual for nice class and recap at the end. I try to focus my mind to understand all these intricacies because it's really like difficult to understand. But you put it so nicely, right? But Mataji, one thing that you said, that there is no such thing as the yogis waiting for Uttarayan, for the sun to move in the northern hemisphere, then they can leave their body, right? But we see Bhishmadev, he did that. He waited, right? So is he an exception?
He waited not for the time, Mataji, but he waited for the soul to go into Brahmarantra by closing the 9 gates. Because by closing the 9 gates, the soul is forced to enter into the Brahmarantra from the Agya Chakra. And then when it enters into the Brahmarantra, then the destination is Brahmajyoti for this yogi. That is what it's mentioned. It's not that he's waiting for the Uttarayan time. At that time, he wants to, bring that soul to Brahmarantra. No, that point is what is clarified.
Okay, so that means that Bhishmadev also went to the Brahmajyoti because it said he went directly to Vaikuntha.
Who?
Bhishmadev. In the Mahabharata, Bhishmadev. Yes.
Yes. So Bhishmadev, yes, Mataji. He did not do yoga. He's a pure devotee of the Lord,
yes,
which is what our Bhagavatam says. So it has, obviously there is a mention of Uttarayan and all that, but again,
yes,
that is from a Mahabharata perspective. From a Bhagavatam perspective, our Acharyas are clearly saying that he is a pure devotee of the Lord, and there is nothing to confuse ourselves with those things. As far as the time and things like that.
Maybe that maybe that the time
the Acharya's commentary.
there.
Yes, the Acharya's commentary will clearly talk about it, Mataji. In fact, we didn't do Acharya's commentaries. We just only read Srila Prabhupada's purports for first canto. But when we delve into Acharya's commentaries, they will tell the inner mood of Bhishma. This has so much intricacies. Maybe someday we will try to explore that and
yes,
Mataji,
get into that. I would love that. I would love to hear from you. Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Also, you said when the yogi is satisfied in this material world, they move to another planet, and they leave their material body, they leave their mind and ego and everything. They leave here. So
it is, as far as what they leave where, that is not clear. But what happens eventually to that subtle body is it becomes subtler, it seems. How, to what grade, and what is gone at which plan? No, that's not mentioned. I just want to clarify that point.
Yeah, no, sorry, because if they don't have their mind, they don't have their intelligence, because they leave everything here, they are satisfied. Their life air is propelled from the top of the head, and they go to higher planet system. But still, they have a little desire to visit that place, like when we go on a holiday.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yes, you have a very valid point. That's why I'm saying they may not be leaving their mind, intelligence, ego completely. It becomes subtle, so that desire in that planet gets gone. it
Yes,
goes.
yes, yes.
Now
Okay,
the
okay.
other desire is still there. So another body suitable to enjoy will be given to this yogi, and that desire will still be there. Whatever desire on that planet will be there till the time he enjoys and becomes satisfied with that, it will still be there. Then he moves to another planet, gets a new body. It becomes subtler and subtler. That's what I said.
Okay,
And,
okay,
and
okay.
then finally at the 13th destination, when everything is done, he becomes completely satisfied to that point. At that time, there is subtle body is destroyed. There is no other enjoyment, or the subtle body is completely become nullified. It becomes destroyed.
Then when he goes to
Then,
another planet with them, he
correct.
gets another body,
Yes,
which is
yes.
suitable for that planet, and then in this way he climbs up. Okay, okay. Thank you, Mataji. I keep listening just to understand more and more, because you go so deep and you explain so nicely, but with my senile brain, it doesn't get in, so I have to listen.
No. This is not understood in one class, Mataji. It is not at all possible, because this is Ashtanga. I mean, this is not our process, right? It cannot be understood. But what we are trying to do here is just try to contrast and understand, okay, what is the difference between direct liberation and Krama Mukti? What's going on there? All that we're just trying to understand. That's all. Again, at a very high level, we are not, as Bhagavatam, with Bhagavatam also, it's not like very elaborately explained.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. If we get people like you explaining, we will be surely like at some point knowledgeable enough to understand. Yeah, the way you explain and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. All glories to our acharyas. They have given us so much. It's just us. We have to put some effort, and Krishna's grace and Guru Maharaj's grace. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
But it's good. We try to read it in the company of others and somebody is explaining. Otherwise, it's difficult to understand on our own. Yeah.
Correct, Mataji.
So thank you.
Totally I agree
Thank
with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful session. I have to hear once again, so that I would collectively take all the points. I have one doubt, Mataji. You mentioned that the yogis, after like they will suspend they will raise their prana, right, where the soul is suspended, and then it will go to
by
it will
closing
escape
the 9
through
gates,
the 9 gates, right?
Brahmarandra.
So then
It will
even
not escape
that
to the 9th place. 9 gates are closed, and it will be the soul will then move into the Brahmarandra and escape from there to go to Brahmaju.
okay, so that Brahmarandra is in the head, Mataji, because there is a hole there, and that is also the one of the 9 gates, right? So that is my doubt.
Yeah, it comes here to the Adya Chakra, and from here, I don't know, Mataji, where is Brahmarandra? Anybody knows, Mataji, Indulekha Mataji, you know where the Brahmarandra is?
Hare Krishna. I think one Prabhuji was explaining the other day is on the top of our head. There is soft point, cerebral, something he said. I think there, because the 9 holes, they are like beyond our forehead, right? The 2 eyes, the 2 nostrils, the 2 ears, the mouth, the anus, and the genitals. So I think it's fine. So that one is not counted, because see, when a baby is born, they have got this part of the frontal something they call it. It's soft on the top of the head. It's very soft. That one.
But that is also one of the gates, right, Mataji?
Is it one of the 9 gates?
Yeah, including that only, I am getting 9, Mataji. That's why I thought.
Okay, I can clarify this.
Okay, go ahead, Mataji.
No, go ahead, Mataji. You go ahead, and then I'll...
So, okay, so the 9 gates, I think, is the 2 eyes, the 2 nostrils, the 2 ears. That is 6, right? The mouth, the anus, and the genitals. 9, right?
Right, Mataji.
Yes. So that frontal is not counted as a whole, because it's not open. It's soft, yes, it's not open.
Okay, Mataji. Yeah. Now clarified, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's
thank you.
exactly right, Mataji. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Okay.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji. I
Krishna.
will listen to once again this, but wonderful explanation and bringing the summary together, right? That really wonderful. And as you mentioned, how blessed we are to get this bhakti, to bypass all these, whatever they are telling. It's amazing. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, that's the glory of Bhakti. Thank you, Mataji. Prabhuji, we can't hear you. I'm so sorry.
Sorry,
No problem.
thank you so much for all the questions and answers. Hare Krishna. Induleka Mataji, are you able to close the session?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, so as usual, Mataji has given a very nice class explaining the progression of the yogis from this material world to the Golok Vrindavan, how he has to go. So that is kind of the stairs that he's taking. He's walking one step by one step, and that's taken lifetime after lifetime. So what we are doing, we have got Srila Prabhupada, we have got our gurus. So our gurus hold our hands and take us through the elevator. So we go directly to Golok if we are sincere. We don't say serious because we cannot be serious in life. We cannot say, oh, I'm not going to love today, I'll be serious. We must be sincere to ourselves, not to show people, not to show others, to ourselves. So Mataji is kindly taking all her time, energy, and do research and come and lead us in this path. So we are trying to follow, but we have to know how the yogis, how the other personalities, they are reaching there. And for us, it's a bit easier, but still the knowledge is good. Thank you so much, Mataji. So I will ask everyone to please unmute, and we glorify Radhika Kasturi Mataji by saying Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Sarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji
All
ki
glories
jai.
to the
Hare
assembled
Krishna.
devotees. All glories to
Hare
Srila
Krishna.
Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much,
Hare
dear
Krishna.
devotees. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for kindly coming. Thank you.
Hare.
Organizing it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.